everyone. So for your fourth video lesson in the pre-coursework, it's all about getting your what I like to call demographic numbers. This isn't really like a coined phrase that anybody uses. I just find it a good phrase to help describe you, how you were made, what your stature is like, what your current measurements are, weight, age, even activity level can be considered like a demographic measurement. So the accompanying files that go with this, and you'll see that there's 3 of them. They are all the same, but I figured, I'll include a few different formats just so that you have something that you can either fill in and use on the computer. Either way, I do need to have these measurements submitted back just so that, it's just additional information for me to be able to help you. So either fill it in and then resubmit it back to me filled in, or actually like a Google form works really well. A Google document would work really well. So like copy paste, with all the information in it. You could even send me a picture of it filled out if you want to print it out. You also could just copy it into that notebook or journal that we talked about and then give it back to me that way. It doesn't really matter the format as long as the numbers are in there somewhere. Okay, so you'll see there that we start with, you got your measurements there, and I want to actually show you a little bit about how to do those. So I have a couple recommendations. When you take your measurements, make sure you're really super consistent about how you do this. You can see that I'm wearing black, very snugly fitting clothes. You don't have to wear black, it's easy to see black against the tape measure that I'm using. I'm using a sewing one. You also could use a piece of string with a yardstick or a ruler or something. Just make sure it's going to get you accurate measurements, okay? Also, clothing may not be the best you may not want to wear clothing for it, is actually what I'm trying to say, because you pretty much have to make sure you're wearing the same type of clothing every time you do your measurements, which ideally should be every few weeks. We'll definitely make sure we do a reevaluation after some time if you're one of my 12-week clients. After 6 weeks, we definitely make sure we do it. After the 12 weeks, you want to make sure you do it again. But if you're starting off this type of thing, say you're one of my challengers or something like this, and you continue your habits on your own very well, do these measurements every few weeks, maybe at the most once a month, just for your own record keeping. Okay, so how should we do this? So the other consistency thing is you want to make sure you measure in the same exact location every single time. All right, so we'll start from the top down. First one is your neck. Now there's a couple of really small ones that we like to do just because there's a few certain areas of your body that don't really change. And this is going to be really hilarious, by the way, because I'm going to have cats that are like, ooh, look at it. It's a dangly thing. So, so this is going to be extremely entertaining. All right, so your neck, you want to make sure you measure the thinnest part of your neck. And this one actually does change over time. You lose a lot of weight. You're going to lose a ½ inch to an inch here every so often. Okay, so that's what the neck would look like. The bicep, this one's always a little bit tricky. Sometimes getting assistance helps. Okay, so you want to measure over the, this is great, the thickest part of your bicep, okay, without pinching in. Okay, you don't want this to happen, all right? You want to be following the natural curve of your bicep, not flexing either, okay? So this is natural. I usually like to hold my arm out to the side. And I'm a lefty, so I'm measuring my right side. You always want to make sure you're measuring either both sides, so make 2 columns, or the same side each time, okay? So due to water retention and stuff, sometimes you can get differences in measurements. All right, and then you have your forearm. This is one that also changes slowly too. You lose a lot of weight, you're going to see differences in ½ inches. Okay, kind of like that. And then you want to do your wrist. Now I have my Fitbit on this wrist, so I'm actually going to do my other one. Your wrist measurement shouldn't change, but actually the cool thing about doing a wrist measurement is it helps you determine body fat percentage and your BMI a little bit, because you can either be big boned, you can be small boned. It actually gives some reference to what kind of build you have, okay? So, okay, thinnest part of your wrist, boniest part of your wrist, okay? All right, so, and then we work our way down our torso. I like to do a measurement for both your chest and your bust because you can definitely see changes in each, especially as you get more toned, okay? So I like to think for your chest measurement, I don't ever see anybody else do this, I just include it as a bonus. Chest measurement is, especially if you're a woman, above the swell okay, right here. And then bust measurement is going to be at the largest point of swell. See why we may not want to have clothes for this? And you don't want to like pull anything in, okay? Don't suck it in any way. This is going to be natural measurement, okay? All right, so that's bust. Waist. Oh yeah, wearing black was a great idea so you could see this. Okay, so it's going to be the thinnest part of your waist. Do not suck it in. The best measurement you're going to get is after an exhalation. There it is, okay? Waist measurement. I like including the next one too because it's an additional point of reference for change, and that's why we do these. We don't care what you are right now. We don't. We care that we have a really good starting place so we can measure change. It's all about improvement. It's all about seeing those numbers go down. So why not have more numbers to track going down, right? Okay, here's my belly button right here. Exhale. And there it is, okay? We want to see those lines going across, like parallel lines. The next one's tricky for that, especially if you've got curvier hips like myself, okay? When you do your hip measurement, it is definitely the widest parts of your hips, forward and back, okay? See, aren't you glad you're not getting your health coaching from a twig? For the record, I will never be a twig. I like my curves. I'm not getting rid of them. I'm getting myself to healthy numbers, and curves stay, all right? So that's the hip one. The next one's gonna be the thigh. I'll back up a little bit for this. I usually put my weight on kind of evenly on one side, or evenly on both sides, but like I lean towards one side, okay? All right, and when you do your thigh measurement, it is a little bit tricky at first. You're going to try to make a parallel line with the tape measure across the widest part of your thigh. Okay, so widest part. And then we also want to go with, oh yeah, the cats are loving this, the calf measurement. Okay, and this is going to be over the widest swell of your calf. Okay. So record all those numbers down, and then super important thing. Yes, we're going to be tracking changes in each of these numbers, but there's a place where you put the total. You add up all those numbers we just took, add it up with a calculator, whatever. And that way you have like a total inch, because a lot of people like to use, when they lose weight, total inches lost. Well, don't you want to take that total from like the total number we just found too? So additional happy numbers to give you a really sense of self-satisfaction, because we don't always see the changes in scale weight, okay? That's huge. You have to get that in your head now, because especially if you're a woman, you've got so many different reasons why you may not see that change in the scale. But you know where you're going to see the change is where it matters most. It matters where people are looking at you. It matters in your appearance. And your appearance is going to show those changes in the circumference measurements that we just took. Okay? That's the one that matters. That's the one that determines what your dress size is, your pant size is. All right? That's going to be the one that you look in the mirror and you're like, ooh, I look good. Okay? Nobody cares what you weigh. You care what you weigh. Unfortunately, doctors care what you weigh too. But you know what? If they also see that you're super muscular, I don't think they're going to harp on you as much. All right, so those circumference measurements are gold. On the rest of the sheet, I just wanted to go over that briefly. That's where you have like the ones where you have to click on the link. Click on that link and you're going to be taken to a place where you've got a bunch of these fitness calculators. I like this site because it explains them a little bit. You know, you're not bombarded with knowledge and articles and junk. You're just given a place to just fill out your numbers, okay, so that you get the numbers you need. All right, so the ones that we're going to be looking at are the BMI, which is basically that number. It's a number that doctors like a lot, but it's a good one for tracking, just so you can see that go down too. Basically what we want to start with is for you to have a measurement under 30, okay, because under 30, that's where your weight is starting to get out of the obesity range. Okay, it's a label that doctors like to use. It's not a label that I like to use, because sometimes that measurement can get skewed depending on how muscular you are. Me getting a BMI in a safe range is actually going to be a very, very tricky goal because I'm naturally really, really muscular and I've actually got a larger bone structure for my height, okay? So those are some reasons why that number can get skewed and make it very hard to attain a number under obesity and under, your overweightness, okay? But it's still a good one to track anyways to see change. Body fat percentage. This one's awesome. It's really, really hard to get a really accurate measurement, but still, the circumference data that we have and your other demographic data can help you see really important changes here too. BMR and calories to maintain are really good for you to know because, I mean, this is where we start to plan what you eat and how much you eat. So the BMR is basically how much your body burns while you're at rest. And then, that's like with no activity at all, no getting up and doing chores, nothing, okay? It's just basically the number of calories that you need per day for your body to go through basic functions, like breathing. And then the calories to maintain is basically using your basic activity level. Either, you're going to work out this much, you're going to work on your feet, you're at a sedentary job. That's what you'll need really to consume every day to not lose weight and not to gain weight. This is where your starting place is. From there, you decide what your deficit is, and we'll get into this a little bit more next week, but for the example of, okay, take that number, subtract 500 calories, and that's how much you have to eat each day to burn 1 pound of body fat per week, okay? I know, these numbers are like, ooh, but that's okay. That's where I can help, and that's where I can help you figure out how to maximize that and even exceed that if you want. All right, and then there's places for like other numbers if you want. And that's because there's more calculators on there. Have fun on that side, play around a little bit. And you'll be able to see more of like other numbers that might mean something for you too. Okay, as always, any questions, give me a holler and make sure that you've scheduled your coaching call with me, okay? All right, thanks a lot.